Hey there, guys. All right, today we are back with some more extra history, and this time we are on to episode 2 of Hunting the Bismarck, the mighty HMS Hood. Which I don't think the mighty HMS Hood is going to be all that mighty after today. Before I dive in, make sure you go and check out the links in the description box below. I would love if you join the Discord and follow me over at Twitch, and please do go check out the gaming channels here on YouTube. There's one for the streams, stream VOD, and then there is one that'll have more edited content coming soon. Right now, there's one video up there. But yeah, with all that said, let's dive right in.
The HMS Hood and Prince of Wales plow toward the Bismarck and destiny. This episode is sponsored by Wargaming. Download World of Warships and use the code EXTRA1 for free goodies. Link in the description. When we left off, the British had finally located the battleship Bismarck and the heavy cruiser Prinz Eugen as they steamed south through the Denmark Strait. And with Admiral Tovey and the rest of the home fleet still hundreds of miles away, it was clear that the Hood, pride of the Royal Navy, and Prince
When the Hood was commissioned, she was the largest warship afloat.
of Wales were the only ones that could possibly stop the behemoth. But to understand what's about to happen, we need to understand the state of the Royal Navy in 1941, and how interwar limitations held back their naval development. For that, allow me to turn things over to Wargaming's military expert, Richard Cutland.
Following World War I, a series of maritime treaties constrained naval development in hopes of defusing an international arms race. At first, these treaties limited the number of new ships and set limits on the size and armament of new vessels, but later agreements eliminated the possibility of building new battleships completely. As a result, in the interwar period, Britain was forced to modernise old ships instead of building new ones. For example, the HMS Hood looked strong enough to any outside observer, but the British Admiralty was well aware of its main drawback: a weak horizontal defence, especially at deck 25, which was only 76mm thick.
Well, ain't that the same problem of the Bismarck? Ain't that just the problem in general with battleships? Strong hulls, mighty guns, but you get above them and they're vulnerable.
Plans to strengthen the horizontal armour had been developed back in 1927, but these works were postponed due to financial problems. In the end, they never happened at all, and this made the ship vulnerable to long-range plunging fire that fell directly down on its deck. These treaties also constrained new battleships, like Prince of Wales, to quite conservative designs. Their armament consisted of 2 4-gun turrets and 1 2-gun turret, all in a 14-inch caliber that complied with treaty limitations. Meanwhile, Germany was quietly violating these treaties with ships like Bismarck that had 15-inch guns. So even though Prince of Wales was brand new, it was underpowered at launch. In addition, the brand new Prince of Wales had teething problems. Sea trials revealed that her revolutionary quadruple gun turrets were prone to break down under strain, and this problem hadn't yet been fixed when she deployed with Hood. However, Prince of Wales was more technologically advanced than the Hood, particularly since she had modern rangefinders. And crucially,
Yay.
both Hood and Prince of Wales were fast, and speed was what the Royal Navy needed in an interception force. Back to you, Dan.
Thank you, Mr. Cutland. So that's the situation. The capable but vulnerable Hood and untested Prince of Wales are about to take on the largest and most modern warships on Earth.
Did they give it a face? It looks like they gave it a face here.
24th of May, 0537 hours, the Denmark Strait. Our British sailors have gotten little sleep, knowing that they would intercept the Bismarck at dawn. On the Prince of Wales, civilian contractors have worked through the night repairing its turret guns, whose hydraulic systems are acting up. Most of the Prince of Wales crew are fresh recruits, and they're nervous. But the presence of the Hood stills their jitters. Just then, a lookout on Hood sees smoke on the horizon. The Bismarck and the Prinz Eugen. Admiral Holland sends a ciphered message to the rest of the fleet. From Hood, enemy in sight, am engaging. But Holland's running almost parallel to the enemy, the 4 ships converging slowly as they head southwest. That's no good. Not only does he need to get between Bismarck and the Atlantic, but the Hood's thin deck armor will be vulnerable to plunging fire unless he gets within 9 miles. By cutting a path directly toward the Germans, he'll close the distance as fast as possible and be harder to hit, but it'll also have his firepower since his rear turrets can't join the fight. But there's nothing for it. The Bismarck could still evade. Holland turns to an interception course and orders full speed ahead. At 05:52 hours, Holland orders Prince of Wales to target the lead ship. But the gunnery officer on the Prince of Wales, working with more modern optics, makes a startling realization. The Hood has targeted the wrong ship. Bismarck and Prinz Eugen have similar silhouettes, and the Germans have defied convention by sending the lighter armored heavy cruiser first. He tries to communicate this to the Hood, but it's too late. The Hood opens fire, wreathing the vessel in dirty brown smoke. Seeing this, the desperate gunnery officer defies the Hood's order, targets the Bismarck, and fires. On both ships, the gunnery officers look at their watches, waiting. 50 seconds later, pillars of water leap up in front of the German ships. The salvos fall short. Worse still, one of the guns in Prince of Wales' B turret malfunctions, taking it out of the action. Both ships are readjusting their aim when flashes of light run up and down the German ships. A long-range artillery duel has begun. 2 minutes later, a shell from Prinz Eugen crashes into the Hood's upper deck, detonating an ammunition locker.
Oh.
It burns with...
Daniel! Bismarck just showing up and being like, I only need one salvo.
Pink flames, anti-aircraft shells cooking off in bunches like firecrackers. On the Hood's bridge, the crew can hear the screams of their burning shipmates coming through the voice pipes.
Oh.
Admiral Holland keeps calm, but then huge columns of water leap into the air ahead of the bow, and he finally realizes that he's been shooting at the wrong ship. He hastily sends the order to retarget the Bismarck and orders a turn to port in order to bring his aft turrets to bear. It will expose him side-on with the enemy, but with luck, the Hood's turn will pass just inside the 9-mile mark and shield him from plunging fire. The turn comes just in time. Bismarck's next salvo thunders down right where the Hood had been headed. With all fire concentrated on Hood, Prince of Wales has been free to get range on the Bismarck and scores at least one hit.
Ooh, let's
but
go.
her intricate 4-gun turrets aren't holding up to the strain, and every few
Not
salvos another gun goes out of action. It follows Hood into the turn, facing the German ships side on. A salvo from Bismarck brackets the Hood, shells landing on either side of the vessel. The Prince of Wales's commander, Captain Leach, knows that once a ship is bracketed, the enemy has you. He sees the Bismarck's guns flash in double time, and trains his binoculars on the Hood to see the result. A shell plunges down on Hood's deck, just aft of the mainmast, and disappears. 2 seconds later, the middle of the Hood erupts like a Roman candle, spraying flames hundreds of feet in the air. As Leach looks on, horrified, a colossal explosion tears the ship in two, the stern rising up out of the water as the bow sails forward under its own momentum. Yellow smoke blankets the carnage. In all the smoke, the Hood's bridge crew don't know where they've been hit or how badly. Bodies begin raining down on the bridge, thumping off the roof and landing on the wings. From below, the helmsman reports through a voice pipe that the steering isn't answering. The ship begins to list, first to port, and then capsizing 45 degrees to starboard. There's no need for an evacuation order. The crew lines up single file at the portside hatch, waiting their turn to scramble out. The squadron's navigating officer stands aside, letting junior seamen go first. One crewman glances back. He sees Admiral Holland still sitting in his command chair, going down with his ship. Seconds later, the sailor steps off the Hood and into the freezing water of the Denmark Strait. Above him, he sees the majestic lines of the Hood, sinking in a V formation. A turret fires a last defiant salvo before it slips into the water, and then the suction pulls him under. On the Prince of Wales, Captain Leach orders an evasive maneuver to avoid colliding with Hood's rapidly sinking stern. It disappears underwater as they pass. Nothing remains of the Royal Navy's largest and most famous ship except a burning debris field. It is now one malfunctioning ship against two, and Leach has sailed right into the Hood's former position. The Germans barely have to adjust their rangefinders. But just then, a salvo from Prince of Wales straddles Bismarck. Leach nods approval. Now that Prince of Wales has the correct range, she can... bang! One compartment below the bridge, the navigation officer hears a crash above him. He shouts into the voice pipe, asking if everything's all right. At first, there's no answer, and then a stream of blood dribbles out, staining his chart.
Oh, no, that's fucking horror movie shit, dude. What the fuck?
Leach gets unsteadily to his feet. One of the Bismarck's shells has hit the bridge and passed through without exploding. His entire bridge crew lies dead, except for 2 wounded officers. For 3 hellish minutes, shells pound the Prince of Wales. The armor belt takes multiple hits. The boat deck catches fire. In one of the turret magazines, a shell punches through the deck and lands, still live, next to a sailor's foot. The magazine crew is told to hang on to it until ordnance disposal arrives, but they're not waiting. They lift the shell up out of the turret and gingerly carry it across the deck amid a full-scale battle. With a sigh of relief, they pitch it over the side. Captain Leach knows he's been outfought. He turns to withdraw, making smoke to cover his retreat. The Bismarck, curiously, does not follow. Keeping well out of range, Leach brings the mauled Prince of Wales around to join the cruisers shadowing Bismarck. He signals the Admiralty. Hood has blown up. 1 hour after the Hood's sinking, a destroyer arrives to look for survivors. On deck, they have rafts, lifebelts, and blankets lined up and ready. The medical crew is prepared to treat hundreds. Instead, they pull 3 oil-slicked survivors out of the water. 3 out of a crew of 1,418. 10:22 hours, the Admiralty. Faces are grim in the Admiralty's war room, 200 feet below the streets of London. The shock of losing the Hood is compounded by the knowledge that German battleships were now in position to prey on vital convoys. But as the news settles in, bleak horror gives way to determined rage. The phone rings. It's Prime Minister Churchill, with a personal order for every able ship in the Atlantic. It is direct and to the point. Admiralty cipher officers broadcast the order wide. The aircraft carrier Ark Royal receives the signal at Gibraltar and begins to unpack its torpedo bombers. Tovey's home fleet receives the message as they race to join the stricken Prince of Wales. The battleship Rodney, headed for a refit in Boston, gets the signal and slowly turns its 16-inch guns back toward Europe. The airwaves are thick with this one message: sink the Bismarck. Sink the Bismarck. Sink the Bismarck.
Guys, I think they want to sink the Bismarck. And that was Hunting the Bismarck, the mighty HMS Hood. Extra History Part 2. This was a good episode. Yeah, this is... I don't think it was as good as Episode 1. Episode 1 was just really good because they really had it set up as the... we're only getting the POV of the British. And we're still only getting that POV here. But it wasn't as... I feel like narratively prevalent in this one. They're just personal taste here. I enjoyed episode 1 a lot more than part 2, but still fantastic. Still a great one. Like, this is one of their older videos. And it's aged really well. Sometimes some of their older videos I feel like haven't aged too well for my tastes, but this one has, it seems. I hope you guys enjoyed as well. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.